Mr. Lott, I see it's 9 o'clock, and
Okay.
if you would, open us up.
I will go ahead. As Clerk of the Board of Supervisors, I now call to order the first meeting of the 2024 calendar year. I want to start the meeting by welcoming our new supervisor for District 1, Casey Brannon, who will open us up with the invocation.
All stand.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for the new year. We ask to you to be those who have special prayer requests today, for you know those needs. We also ask you to be with this board. Please guide our actions so that we may be pleasing to you.
Amen.
Mr. Will Sly will lead us in the pledge.
Yes, sir. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business, I would ask for the approval of the December the 18th, 2023 board minutes if there are no changes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Second? You second, Mr. Steen?
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Okay, now the scheduled matters of business, which I'm going to go into before we go into the concerned citizen, is the election of officers. I will now entertain nominations for board president for the current year.
I think Gerald need to resign.
Mr. Steen?
Yeah, I thought that's what we were doing. I mean, I thought, yeah, so I need to make a motion to resign.
You don't have to resign. It's
Nah,
first meeting.
No, he didn't have to
I
resign,
think we
okay.
just go forward with it.
Once a year is over with, it's over with.
New term. It's a new term.
As I said, for the current year, which is terminated. Same thing I made it when I made
I
it 5 years
move,
ago.
I'd like to nominate Gerald Steen as president.
I second it.
Okay, any other nominations?
We got a motion on the floor,
Yes, sir.
so.
No substitute motion?
Substitute motion to nominate Trey Baxter as president.
Okay. Seconded by Trey. Okay, vote on the substitute motion first.
Right.
Trey Baxter is president. All in favor? All opposed?
No.
Motion fails. I have to go back to the initial motion for Supervisor Steen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you, Mr. Lott.
Yes, sir.
Moving back to the beginning of the agenda with concerned citizens. Greg, do we have concerned citizens signed in?
I have 3 listed here. First is Miss Judith Fulati, I hope is how that's pronounced.
Okay, Miss Judith, please come up and state your name and give your address, please, in 2 minutes.
Thank you. Your Honors, good morning. Good morning, Council and Madam Clerk. I've provided my address to Madam Clerk. As you know, I live in Lake Caroline, and congratulations on your recent appointment, Mr. Supervisor, as well as your new officers, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I'm going to start this off maybe with, with a topic that I hope is not controversial, and so please don't shoot the messenger. I was here on December 4th, and at that time I passed out meeting minutes from December 8th of, December 8th of '08. That had to do with mandatory recusal issues of supervisors on matters coming before you all when a supervisor lives in a particular HOA district. I didn't at that time have with me a copy of the ethics opinion. I have that now, and I believe Madam Clerk has passed that out to all of you. Is that correct?
We have it.
It consists of the summary page at the very top, and then the full opinion which is a 5-page opinion. Supervisor Banks will be very familiar with this opinion because it was done at the behest of Supervisor Banks in 2008. At that time, the supervisor attorney, counsel for the board, sent in an ethics request to the State Ethics Commission requesting the Ethics Commission opine on what a supervisor may or may not deliberate upon when it comes to certain matters. You will see in the summary the very clear language. There is no waffling about this. It is mandatory language, and it states that a county supervisor may not participate in actions, plural, actions, plural. It goes on then to conclude the supervisor must, mandatory language, must recuse himself from any matter coming before the Board of Supervisors related to the development in which he resides. And this is in compliance with state law. The state law, the code section being noted there. However, and this relates obviously to Lake Caroline and the matter before Lake Caroline. However, I will note that this is something that the board should automatically be aware of. It would seem to me to be something that would be distributed to the board as part of a orientation to the board. This is something that I would believe, certainly expect, board counsel to let the board members know at the start of any particular calendar year. However, Supervisor Banks, who lives in Lake Caroline, and who is very familiar with this opinion, on July 3rd, the minutes reflect, July 3rd of this year, the minutes reflect in-ray authorization to perform traffic study Stribling Road, that Supervisor Banks was the moving supervisor he brought a motion with Mr. Steen seconding a comprehensive traffic study. You can't hide behind the fact that this is a mere traffic study, because the traffic study itself before you today is titled Traffic Analysis for the Proposed Lake Caroline Development. Supervisor Banks should have recused himself on July 3rd. Per state law, he had no authority to bring that motion, but he did. On December 4th of this year, Supervisor Banks brought a motion per your meeting minutes, in-ray discussion of Lake Caroline zoning. Mr. Banks did offer, and Mr. Steen did second, a motion to set a public hearing for January 16th. Mr. Banks should have recused himself, with all due respect, sir. In fact, if you then go to the full ethics opinion, page 5, the very last page, a total and complete recusal requires that the supervisor leave the meeting room before the matter comes up for discussion and abstain and remain absent until the vote is concluded. The supervisor must not only avoid debating, discussing, or taking action on the subject matter during official meetings or deliberations, must also avoid discussing the subject matter with anyone. This includes casual comments, as well as detailed discussions made in person, by telephone, or by any other means. I have another handout. If I might please prevail on you, counsel. Thank you. These are recent social media discussions in which Supervisor Banks has taken part. This has been within the last 2 to 3 weeks. The relevant portions have been highlighted for you. Carl Banks, Lake Caroline. Go to the third page. Carl Banks, Kevin, I'm not advocating for anything other than truth. All the community should speak out on their opinions. I would not be voting. And there are additional comments made on social media. This is made on Nextdoor. Again, page 5 of the ethics opinion. This includes casual comments as well as detailed discussions made in person, by telephone, or by any other means. Who polices you but yourselves, Your Honors? Maybe the media might from time to time, if they are paying attention, but who polices you but yourselves, other than your honor and your sense of integrity? It was inappropriate for Mr. Banks to have not only brought motions, but have engaged in discussions before this board on anything related to Lake Caroline. And since later in the agenda today, you'll be discussing the traffic study, it makes it very clear Mr. Banks may not be present, he may not engage in discussions, he may not vote. And furthermore, the opinion makes it very clear that the following procedure is expected. Any minutes or other record of the meeting or other proceeding should state the recusing member left the room before the matter came before the public body and did not return until after the vote. And that's exactly what Supervisor Banks did do in December of 2008 when, after requesting board counsel bring the matter before the State Ethics Commission, did that very thing and did not vote on the Lake Caroline PUD matter that was before the board in '08. I bring this to your attention not to cause division, not to cause consternation, not to create animosity, but this is an important issue. You are all charged with ethical duties and responsibilities that all of the people here rely upon. And so this is why I bring it before you. I thank you for my time.
Thank you, Judith. Also, the piece that you handed out on the ethics or the opinion, didn't we enter that into the minutes
We have not entered.
the last
No, sir,
couple
I
of
don't
board
even have a
meetings?
copy of that last piece.
Did we not? Okay, I would like to make a motion to enter that into the minutes then.
Both
The-
items or just the last one?
Well, the ethics
Okay.
piece
Yes,
that she
okay, we have
handed
that.
out.
Yes, sir, I have that.
Yeah, just enter that into the minutes
That is.
only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Baxter. Discussion? Yes. No, just the ethics, this piece.
First piece that came out.
Yeah, the first piece.
I have that.
Yeah, you're right, Carl. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Judith.
Thank you.
Next, concerned citizen, Greg.
Next up would be Robert DeCostier, I'm hoping.
Mr. Robert, come up and state your name, give your address, and let's adhere to the 2 minutes. if you
Good
would,
morning. My
please.
name is Robert DeCoster. I'm a resident of Lake Caroline. My address is on file.
Okay, thank you.
I'm speaking on the traffic report and also on the investigation by Terracon. I hope that you're going to have the ability to open this up to a public discussion because there's an awful lot of questions that I feel need to be answered as far as the surveys. On the Kaiser, or the Kaiser rather, analyst, you know, this is dated October 27th or 24th of 2023, but it wasn't released until December 22nd. That's almost a 2-month lag time between that. And I noticed that it's being released at a very sensitive time, right between the holidays. And generally, if you look at the news cycles and that, a lot of things try to get buried in that time period because people aren't paying attention, and it's something that kind of slips under the door and nobody really notices it or nobody pays any attention to it. This survey was originally adapted, I believe, and approved by you months ago, and it was actually regarding the Stribling market. and I hope has no relevance to the 55 acres which the developer now wants to promote. Because a lot of the figures in here are no longer relevant. We're not talking about a small gas station and convenience store. We are now talking about a 55-acre development. A football field is 1.3 acres. How many times does that go into 55 acres? Are we looking at 12 football fields worth of area out there developed? I'm also curious, how did it sneak in here? The very first line of this proposal is, I conducted an analysis of the potential office building, restaurant and gas station, convenience market, and commercially zoned property in the Lake Caroline development. That's the assumption that it is properly zoned, and I'd like to know who and how the restaurant and the acreage for the building got in there, because specifically you state that it is going to be a 7,000 square foot restaurant and a 10,000 square foot office complex. Who put that in there? That wasn't in the original estimate, I wouldn't assume. That wasn't part of the gas station and the Strivling market. So how does that appear in this study? The citizens paid for it, all of us voters paid for it, and yet it took you 2 months to release this, and you released it at this point in time. I certainly hope you're going to be open to having a public discussion of this that will be published and not keep this inside and just say, well, that's the way it is. Now, when you get to Terracon, that's a little interesting also, because they seem to be using figures that we're not really sure where they all came from. If you look at it, it's a very difficult plan to look at, and obviously you've got to take and do some technical work here, which once again, the public, the voters, haven't had a chance to really go through this and analyze it. Perhaps you all have, and you're all familiar with the different aspects of traffic control. Now, even the samples that were taken are varying, and their reports do not always coincide. Once again, this does not even consider the structural area of going up Caroline Boulevard, because you will have ingress and egress from the gas station in across those properties. If you try to use this for the development of the 55 acres, there's going to have to be ingress and egress all the way up onto Lake Caroline Boulevard. And how do you address that? The entrance at Lake Caroline will also more than likely have to be demolished in order to go to the suggested 2 lanes in either direction in that area. There's so many questions that really need to be brought out to the light. Otherwise, this has a very, very foul odor. It seems like a lot of this is being done in the dark of night or not very transparent. And perhaps I'm wrong about that, but I think transparency should be something very, very important to this board, because the citizens of Madison County are starting to notice. They're taking a very little sharp eye now and looking at what the board of directors and the supervisors are doing. So we're no longer asleep, we're waking up, and we want to get answers. And I hope you're prepared to give them to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robert. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda.
Next and lastly on my list here is Thomas Maritisa, I think.
I decline at this point.
Babs
Okay,
wishes to decline, and I have no further names on my list.
Anyone else out in the congregation like to speak on any topic to the board? Yes, ma'am. Come up and state your name and give your address, please. And 2 minutes. We're going to need to hold to the 2 minutes.
I'll hold it. I just have one.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, welcome. Happy New Year. Welcome to the
Here.
new Board of Supervisor. My name is Ann Smith. I've recently given my address. My question is with the traffic study. The traffic study says that it doesn't mention anything about the 10,000-pound weight limit, and gas trucks weigh more than 10,000 pounds. So I would like to know, and as he said, have it explained to us how these gas trucks and all these other trucks are going to get in and out on that road because they weigh a lot more than 10,000 pounds.
Right.
And the other thing is just, like he said, y'all are tearing up Lake Caroline, the beautiful Caroline that we moved into by the traffic study. And so I'm here to listen to y'all, and I hope that y'all will explain, because that language, this A, B, C, D, I'm not familiar with, and I appreciate it if y'all would. Thank you.
Thank you,
Y'all
Ann.
have a good day.
You bet. Thank you much. Okay, we're going to move on to schedule of matters of business. One thing that we need to do is elect a vice president at this point. Do I have a motion for vice president?
I make a motion, nominate Carl Banks.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? I'll second it. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Next on there is item 3. Approve of bonds of supervisors and other elected officials. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second? I'll second it. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Next, we have staff appointments, which they are listed there on the agenda. Are there any that any of the board members like to remove and discuss?
I make a motion to remove the county attorney
Okay.
position. Second.
Well, okay.
Well,
All right, and I would like to remove the state aid engineer. Anyone else like to remove any?
I make a motion to approve all of them except those 2.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, first of all, we got a motion to remove those 2, as you said, so.
Well, you didn't need a motion.
I think we just removed them and then.
You did. Okay. All right, we got a motion to approve the appointees with the exception of the county attorney and the state aid engineer. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. First, we go to the county attorney. Mr. Brannon?
I would. Excuse me. Yeah, I believe that this needs to be separate. It's a statutory appointment. I believe that we need to possibly put a RFQ out for our county attorney, so that we can get the most qualified person in to do this, somebody who wants to be here and serve our board to the best of their ability.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Bannon. Got a second by Supervisor Baxter. Ronnie, did you get that motion?
Yes, sir, to ask for RFQs for board attorney.
Okay. Discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No?
No.
No.
I make a motion that we approve Mike Espy as our county attorney.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second to approve Mike Espy as county attorney. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay, the other that's on the list that I asked to remove with the state aid engineer, I would make a motion to appoint Jim Husk as state aid engineer. Do I have a second?
Who's Jim Husk?
Jim used to be our state aid engineer back about 8 years ago.
Oh,
Okay. Did I have a second? So it fails because of a second. Do we have any other motion to approve John McKee then?
motion to approve John McKee.
Okay, got a motion by Supervisor Baxter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay, then we'll move on to commission appointments. Trying to get mine.
Where we at?
Next.
All right, commission appointments. Are there any that you would like to, I know there's one on the Metro Jackson Chamber of Commerce where Supervisor Jones was on that committee. We need to appoint someone there.
Does it have to be a supervisor?
You know, I'm not sure, Supervisor Baxter. I would say let's give it some thought before we go outside of a supervisor, but I'm not sure. The other is the Pearl River Valley Water Supply. I'd like to reappoint John Pittman, but also we got to give 3 names to the governor for the second appointment as well. So anyone like to remove any besides the Metro Chamber of Commerce, Supervisor Jones? Or does anyone up here like to?
I've been on the MPO for 8 years, if somebody wants to take that on.
Make a motion, put Trey on there for another 4 years.
All right, let's take this as a Metro Jackson Chamber of Commerce. That's one Supervisor Jones was on. Anyone like to take that as far as supervisor?
Let Brian take it. He, District 1 supervisor did good. Did good, so you might well put Casey on there.
Okay. Casey, I'm not going to go down that road unless you want it.
I'll take it on, I guess.
All right, Supervisor Brandon, take that one. All right, and
CMPDD.
no, that was the Metro Jackson Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, no, you want the MPO?
We can get to him, Trey.
Well, if he wants that as well, I mean.
I don't know. I thought I was taking Trey's spot, but
Yeah.
No, we're talking about the Jackson Chamber of Commerce.
I'll make the motion on the MPO, and if you don't like it, I'll go back.
To take your place on it?
Yeah,
Okay, that's the CMPDD?
MPO.
Okay. We can make that one?
Bottom.
Okay, I have a motion then to approve everyone that's on the commission board appointments with the exception of Supervisor Jones. We'll leave that one blank at this point. And to replace Supervisor Baxter with Supervisor Brandon on the CMPDD MPO.
Yeah. got it.
And to also leave off the governor's appointment until we come up with 3 names on the Pearl River Valley Water Supply to present him. So that's my motion.
also just as note, Bill Billingsley is no longer able to serve for the District 1 MCP&Z.
Okay.
I discussed that with Ronnie and Greg this morning.
Yes.
He will have to submit a letter of resignation, and I will have a name at the next meeting.
Okay, but we can leave him on at this point until you reappoint.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Supervisor Baxter's discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Board meeting time and place. Governing rules of order.
All right, we have the board meetings, time, place, and governing rules. Do we have a motion to go by the Roberts Rule of Order?
Motion.
Got a motion by Supervisor Baxter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Of course, the time will be at 9 a.m., first and third Mondays, unless there's a holiday that we have to move it to the next day. Place would be here in the Chancery Court building. And, of course, we've already approved the Robert Rules Order. So do I have a motion for the time at 9 a.m. here in the Chancery Court building? Got a motion from Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Next is the consent items. Anyone like to remove any item from the consent items?
Yes, I would. I'd like to make a motion to remove item 14.
Move item 14.
The CA approved county attorney contract.
Okay, we got item 14 be removed. Any other items like to be removed? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 14? I'll make a motion for approval. Second, Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Item 14, Supervisor Brown.
I'd like to just expound on this, that this is not the best contract for the benefit of the county and the taxpayers. And I would like for it to be tabled until the next meeting.
Would you like to expand a little bit clearer on that?
Let's see, during the prior administration, Mike Espy was paid over $1 million. And it's our responsibility to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money. Why would we not want to make sure that we are hiring the most qualified individual to represent the county?
Okay.
I mean, the contract should be, and Mike is more than welcome to put out, it should be done as an RFQ. And the billing should be more advantageous to the county. His billing is exorbitant, and we do not, I think we need to reevaluate this contract and make sure there are limits to the billing.
Okay.
All right.
And again, Mike, from my understanding, reading the contract, is that there's no change as far as hourly rate
No change.
in your contract.
No change.
No change at all in any of them. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to,
Well, we have a motion on the floor.
Motion on the floor to.
What did he motion?
To table the contract.
Second.
okay.
Ronnie, did you get that motion in second?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a
Got a
motion in
substitute
second.
motion.
Okay.
Motion to hire Mike Espy as a county attorney. Reason why, I think, Casey, once you get into the term, you'll see that we have a lot of legal stuff going on. I don't know whether Mike was paid over $1 million or not. I hadn't calculated how much he made. But you will see whatever lawyer is the lawyer for the Board of Supervisors gonna put in a lot of hours.
Well, a lot of the thing that I have issues with the contract is that it is for Mike and Mike's LLC, and he should not be billing for things above. There are things in the contract that say these are the duties of the county attorney. What I'm afraid is happening is because the contract is for Mike and Mike's LLC, is that he is possibly double billing the county for work he's doing that should fall underneath his responsibilities as county attorney. And therefore, we've already approved Mike. That happened in staff appointments on number 4. What I want to do is table this contract to say, hey, maybe we need to reevaluate this contract and make sure that we are not being overbilled, that we maybe just amend the contract. I'm certain that we can have a better contract that can save the county money. Mike's already been appointed. What we need is a contract that better suits this county.
All right, do we have a motion? Got a motion on the table?
Got a substitute motion
Got a substitute motion. What is it?
No second.
What's the substitute motion?
to approve the contract, Mike Espy.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Yeah, and I'm gonna weigh in just a little as well. Madison County has a lot going on. That's one of the reasons y'all are here today. There's a lot of lawsuits, a lot of work that goes into this board and the administrator and department heads, along with the county attorney, to do what's right and to give us the information to where we can have good, solid information to make a good decision. And it costs, and it costs to do that type of business. There's something going on every day. The board members calls the county attorney, the department heads do. And so, therefore, I think I see in this contract that the contract is $250 an hour for a county attorney. Guys, that's not a lot per hour. It is for me, and probably is for both of you, but being an attorney, that's very, very reasonable and Mike gives the supervisors the information. All of us. He's an attorney for all supervisors. All you got to do is ask, and he'll do his best to give you the information. So, with that being said, we have a substitute motion on the table to approve the contract, and I would encourage our new supervisor to continue to look over the buildings.
I have been looking.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on. Continue to look over the buildings, continue to monitor not only the contract of a county attorney, but contracts of anyone else, because that's part of our responsibility as well. But being on the board for 12 years, you know, I understand county attorneys are, you know, there's a lot of different knowledge in a county attorney compared to a municipality attorney, compared to a regular attorney. So it's a lot of knowledge that's sitting over there in that seat. And so with that being said, you want to say something else,
I
Supervisor?
would like to say something else.
Okay.
This is my first day sitting behind this seat. I've been out in the audience for most of the past year. I have, like you said, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that I do not know, and I will get to know. But it seems that Mr. Espy, despite your claims that he has a lot of knowledge, never seems to be prepared for meetings. He never has answers. He never knows what's going on. He always seems surprised. I don't know if that's he always puts it off to the next meeting. I don't know if that's a billing tactic to make significantly more than all 5 of us put together every single year. We make, what, $56,000 a year apiece. Mr. Espy over there makes approximately $30,000 a month, which is significantly more than $250,000 we have. If that's incorrect, Mr. Espy, let me know. My sources may be wrong. I also happen to know from several good sources that Mr. Espy does not reply and get back to people in a timely fashion. He seems to be a black hole of things just fall into his lap and nothing ever gets done. One of the things that I know for a fact, we agreed to, or the board agreed to help out the Madison Avenue Upper Elementary. Mr. Espy sat on that to get the paperwork done, and they ended up not being able to help with that playground because they ran out of time. Because it took them over a month and a half, and they missed their summer window opportunity to be able to do that. I think that he's been approved. There's nothing I can do about that, but there needs to be some leverage in his contract to make sure that that the county is a priority for him, that he gets things done, and that he responds on time, and that he is not overpaid.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Mike, I'm not gonna get into back and forth,
I'm done.
you know, on it,
There's a
so.
motion on the table.
Got a motion on the table, substitute motion for approval of the contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on next to the supervisors, item 29, approval of the Capital Resources LLC engineer letter. This is our state lobbyist. At this point, I would make a motion to hire Capital Resources as our state lobbyist. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion? And at this point, I would like to, and I see the team there in the audience, I would like to ask Claire Hester to come up and just tell us a little bit about your team, and you may want to bring your team up and just introduce them.
Sure. Everybody, come on up. Thank you. It's an honor to have this opportunity to work with you doing government relations and public affairs. I want to introduce my whole team, which is the group of people here with me. I'll just go in order. We have Pete Smith, Camp Murphy, Lindsay Chopra, Harper Mims, Matthew Major, Reed Branson. There's not a thing really that goes on in state government that we aren't engaged on some level with. We track issues. We fight passionately for the issues that our clients charge us to do, and really look forward to getting to know all of you better and working with Madison County.
Okay.
Matthew is going to have the lead on this account. What we typically do when we engage on behalf of a client is we all get to know the issues so that we can be somewhat interchangeable, but we do have a lead for each client. Matthew will have the lead on this, and of course, I'm available pretty much 24/7. But thank you, Mr. Steen.
Okay. Claire, thank you for coming up and introducing your team. And so any other discussion at this point for capital resources? And this contract would be for 1 year,
Yes, sir.
same amount that we paid
Yes, sir.
our last lobbyist,
There's also a 30-day out.
30-day out. And but we have a heavy lift again coming up. Of course, Madison County always has a heavy lift because there's a lot of infrastructure issues that we try to take care of, and the county can't afford all of the infrastructure that is needed. So we asked the state to help, and the state has been very helpful in the past, and we're very appreciative of that. So with that being said, we have a motion on the table. You have that motion? Okay, we've got a motion on the table. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
What was the,
2 noes.
2 noes? Okay. All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Look forward to working with you. And Claire, if you have any cards, if you would, leave them. If not, leave them for the supervisors and the administrator and the county attorney and the chancery clerk as well. So we look forward to working with you. Okay, moving on, Mr. Banks.
I think the appointment for Mr. Andrew Hughes to the Mega Site Fire Board District is due, so I'd like to reappoint Mr. Andrew Hughes to that district to a full term.
Got a motion on the floor and a second by Supervisor Griffith to appoint Mr. Andrew Hughes to the Mega Site Fire District Board. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Next items will come up with the business item. Item 31, Walnut Church, Missionary Baptist Church. Anyone here representing?
Dinkins, correct? Yes, this is you.
Would you please come up and just state your name and give your address, please?
Good morning. Wesley Dinkins, resident of Brandon, Mississippi. I think my address is already on file.
Okay.
Just simply here to request a tax exemption for Walnut Hill Missionary Baptist Church.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make that motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Item 32, Drew.
Morning, Board.
Good morning.
Buildings and Grounds, that's one item. I'm requesting authorization to reject all bids for the county boardroom renovation project and to re-advertise for bids.
Okay, I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Banks. Discussion.
So, I'm obviously new. Why are we doing this?
Yes, sir. One of the issues that had come up in previous board meetings was AV, having screens to be able to do presentations, things like that. That initially started looking into doing a project to bring that in. When the numbers were looked through and the age of the boardroom materials and finishes, it was decided to move forward with a full renovation to include all that in one package. Basically, when we were pulling out walls, doing things to put in TVs, we figured it'd be the best time to get everything done at once.
Okay, just curious. All right,
Yes.
appreciate it.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Tim?
All
right, I think I may be the main attraction today. First item that I have is the traffic study for the Stribling Road area, and I'm going to get Jonathan to come present that one for us, and after that, I'll present the pavement analysis.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Jonathan Kaiser with Kaiser Traffic, Greystone Drive in Madison County.
Let me ask the question first. You know, early we heard about the need for my recusal, and it mentioned the traffic study as being something that I shouldn't have done, even though my reasoning for the traffic study was the need for us to correct traffic problem. Because whether you put a store there or not, there's a traffic issue on Stribling Road. We know it. Any morning you leave out and get up there about 7:30, you'll know it. And that whole area is, we're trying to work on the Catlett Road, Stribling interchange down there. We've got several things we're doing, and the traffic study ties into all of that.
Yes, sir.
And the traffic study wasn't, in my opinion, I was not trying to do a traffic study to justify a convenience store or any other commercial development. I was trying to do a traffic study to move traffic.
Yes, sir. And that's
where we have a problem. The other issue in terms of the zoning and all of those things, those are totally separate from the traffic. The traffic is a problem.
Yes, sir.
Now, I wanted to state that, and I guess if you're going to tie the traffic study to Lake Caroline, then I need to leave. If the traffic study is for traffic, then I need to hear what needs to be done to solve the traffic problem. So now, that's fine with me as to whichever way we're going with this. I think the public feels that that your study is to give a reasoning for or against the convenience store. It's not to move traffic. And if that's the case, then I can leave. So that's fine. Y'all rather for me.
Guys, hold up. Hold up, and I want to follow up with that is, Tim, if you would come up and maybe help answer. Ms. Banks, hold on before you go, because I want to make sure this is clarified, because, guys, I'm going to tell you, Mr. Banks has worked very consistently on trying to move traffic and do things out there in that area. Now, he has worked hard, even on this right here, this study. I don't consider this study a Lake Caroline study. I consider this study a study of the whole entire road, because that's where the issue is. So Tim, hey, Judith, just hold tight. No, don't interrupt then. Don't interrupt. Sheriff, would you put her out? Sheriff.
Ma'am, you're going to have to quiet down or I'll clear the room.
Thank you. Tim, I want to know, guys, y'all listen up a little. Tim, we need to understand, as Mr. Banks says, is this just for, I guess, the Stribling Market or Lake Caroline? Or is it for the entire road? And that's really what the answer we need here.
Okay. Stribling Road is not considered a part of Lake Caroline. You can look on the plat of any part of Lake Caroline. Stribling Road is not a part of that development. It is a collector road outside the development. It currently has a need for additional capacity. If you sit there in the mornings, you understand that there is a need for additional capacity on the road. You sit there forever. This study was designed to help alleviate traffic on that road.
Oh,
Does
Stribling
it help
Road.
on Stribling Road? Does it help Lake Caroline? Absolutely. But it is a collector road outside of Lake Caroline. And that is what we were looking at.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Mr. Banks, you've heard what our engineer says. And so you make the decision, whether you want to stay and listen or will you not?
Well, you know, I'll look at what he has to present at a later date, but he can present it now. I think that it would make them more comfortable if I'm not here. So I'll get up and leave. That's fine. Thank you all.
All right, we're not taking comments. Jonathan, please go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
Thank you.
The traffic study was done, as you said, to evaluate the impacts on Stribling Road and look at the existing traffic and future traffic volumes. One of the things that was interesting in the documentation of these existing traffic is that the eastbound traffic on Catlett Road in the morning was 1,040 vehicles per hour by the entrance of Lake Caroline. That volume is over what we would typically say is the capacity of a two-lane road in one direction. That somewhere over the 800 to 900 vehicles per hour is usually the capacity of a roadway. So with us having 1,040 vehicles per hour, there's very limited capacity remaining out there. One of the things that traffic started to back up at about 7:02 in the morning across the Lake Caroline entrance. It was across Timber Drive and Ashbrook by 7:08, and it was in a traffic queue for about 40 minutes in the morning during that peak hour. Around 7:45, 7:50 when the queue finally cleared. One of the things with looking at the entrance of Caroline is that those traffic volumes meet traffic signal warrants. There's 3 vehicular volume-based warrants for a peak hour, a 4-hour, and an 8-hour warrant, and the existing traffic volumes meet all 3 of those warrants. One of the challenges is just installing a traffic signal is not going to solve your capacity problem. So, the issue is that you've got more traffic than the existing roadway can handle currently. Caroline had around 200 vehicles per hour turning onto Catlett Road in that AM peak hour. Ashbrook had about 300 vehicles per hour exiting, with about 250 of that traveling east on Catlett. So, they are obviously large generators of traffic on the roadway. Let's see, the southbound left turns at Stribling Road Extension, where a lot of this congestion backs up from, it was at 435 vehicles per hour back in a count done in 2020. We usually look at going to dual left turn lanes when you get over about 300 vehicles per hour. So roughly 4 years ago, they were, over that threshold with a very heavy southbound left turn. But that seems to be where the choke point is for the capacity for traffic backing up across the entrance to Lake Caroline. In the recommendations, we're looking at needing to widen the roadway to a 5-lane road. That would give you more capacity to alleviate the congestion and these traffic queues that are blocking the entrance. Because right now, the Caroline Boulevard entrance, the only way that people get in during that 45 minutes of making a southbound left turn when traffic is backed up is if somebody lets you in. So I can understand the frustration in dealing with congestion, but it's a limitation on capacity of the 2-lane roadway. So the recommendations show a couple of things, and one of them is that widening to a 5-lane, allowing dual southbound left turns coming out of Lake Caroline, because if we're going to have 2 receiving lanes, we will get more people out every cycle if we have dual left turn lanes. One of the other challenges is that the intersection of Stribling Road and Catlett Road has the eastbound right turn, which is the heaviest movement, yielding. That movement was 900 vehicles turning right and 140 turning left, and they all are yielding the right-of-way to a southbound movement that's about 40 vehicles per hour. So you're making 1,000 vehicles yield to 40 vehicles, which, you know, is very inefficient. So having Stribling go to Catlett as the right-of-way is recommended, along with the widening to the 5-lane with the traffic signal at the Caroline entrance. And then I know the county's already planning a traffic signal at the Stribling Road extension, Catlett Road intersection. So that would alleviate a lot of the congestion that is occurring with existing traffic, regardless of additional traffic in the future.
So your recommendation is to 5-lane Stribling Road? Well, if we 5-lane Stribling, we pour the traffic onto Catlett, it's a 2-lane road. I don't understand. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I was just questioning your results.
Well, I mean, there's additional capacity needed to get traffic through the intersection of Stribling Road extension at Catlett also. And you're also talking about improving Bozeman Road south of Gluckstadt Road. So if you extended that 5-lane down to Gluckstadt Road and you allowed dual left turn lanes at Stribling Road extension with some additional widening at the intersection to allow that traffic to merge into a single lane, your traffic at the intersection of Calhoun Station Parkway and Stribling Road extension really splits into thirds, where you have a third going north, a third going east, and a third going south. So your congestion point is really at the Stribling Road extension Catlett intersection, and if you can get them through that intersection, you're not having that same level of congestion at the traffic signal at Calhoun Station Parkway.
So you're saying that, in your opinion, the red light at Gluckstadt and Catlett's not backing up in the morning?
That's not what I said, sir. I said that you're doing improvements to that intersection at Gluckstadt and Catlett.
To alleviate the traffic concerns, you would have to widen Catlett and Stribling.
Yes, sir.
I mean, let's quit
that is correct.
Let's quit
that is
dancing
correct, and
around.
that's
I
what
know, but all that fancy talk, that's the bottom line. And do you have a cost estimate on that?
I don't have a cost estimate, but I do have the concept laid out in the report for you, showing the widening through those choke points.
Yeah, there's figures in the back.
There's figures that outline that, making the Stribling to Catlett movement, the primary movement. It shows the 5-lane through that and signalization.
Okay, thank you.
Jonathan, anything else, any other? So basically what you're saying then is the 5-lane from Catlett back up to how far?
From Catlett to Stribling Road extension as a minimum, and it would work better if you extend that to meet the Bozeman Road improvements that you're doing up to Gluckstadt Road. But right now, the Stribling Road extension Catlett intersection is your choke point, and that's what's backing up traffic across these driveways and prohibiting people from being able to get out for 45 minutes in the morning. If you alleviate that choke point, I think you'll see a much improved network and smoother traffic flow in the mornings.
Can you give an estimate how much smoother? I mean, I know that's a loaded question, but
you would be going from a level of service F to a level of service B or C.
Okay.
So, I mean, you would have much lower delays for traffic, particularly in the AM peak hour. Yes, sir.
Okay. Other questions?
Are we just voting to accept this letter? Is that what we're voting on?
Most of the knowledge it probably would be.
Yeah, I'm sure to acknowledge it is what you're gonna recommend.
The only problem I have with voting to accept this letter is the very first sentence. Per your request, I conducted an analysis of the potential office building, restaurant, and gas station convenience market and commercially zoned property in Lake Caroline development. True. This gives credence to the fact that this is actually commercially zoned. I believe there is some very viable question to whether that this is even commercially zoned. The fact that this market
generated this report is fantastic, but it should be mutually exclusive. Carl did the right thing by stepping out. He can always watch this later on YouTube to get this information. But we need to hold this separate from the market and fix these people's problem regardless if there's a gas station or other development going in there. I do not like that it is tied to the market. I do not like that it puts in writing that this area is zoned commercial when there is obviously a question of maybe we should table this. I make a motion to table this until we can get the letter to have language in it that excludes anything about the Stribling market and just makes these people's lives better without any connotation of a market.
And I'll say that that was my responsibility for putting that language in that letter, and I will be glad to modify that letter. I think if you look at the results of the information that are in it, is it focuses on the fact that the existing traffic is over capacity, and it specifies what improvements are needed to accommodate existing traffic volumes.
Yeah, I totally agree.
As well as future development.
It looks like there is no room for any kind of commercial building there, but I want it to be, I would like for it to be removed from this before I approve it, just simply because there is questions about the zoning.
Get that motion ready.
You got a motion on the floor?
We need a second.
Second.
Got a second. Just for further discussion. Jonathan, with that being said, because it doesn't change any numbers.
No, sir, it does not.
It doesn't change any information.
No, sir, it does not.
It's hidden.
You know, so if it doesn't change anything, it doesn't really matter to me, whether it stays in or whether it be removed. Because the zoning of that issue will come later on. And so the traffic study that you did you include that area at that point? And I say that area, I think it's 55 acres. In this, or was it separate, or did you see that that was going to be developed commercial or residential? Did you use that?
I looked at some specific land uses of different types of land uses of commercial development and showed the impacts that some development would have coming from Caroline's property east of Caroline Boulevard.
Did you show it as commercial or residential?
I showed it as commercial. There were 3 different, I believe, land uses that were used, which were some office, some restaurant, and then a gas station.
Okay. So you did use it as commercial?
Yes, sir.
How would it change if you used it as residential?
It really wouldn't change it at all. You would still be looking at similar results. You might have lower traffic volumes with residential than you would have with commercial. But one of the issues you're going to have is that a lot of traffic, particularly associated with a gas station, is traffic that's already on the road and is not generating new trips. It's traffic that's already on the roadway called pass-by trips.
Yeah, like I said, it's not going to change any information, so I can actually go either way. I mean, if a board member would like to have it removed, I don't have an issue with that because it's not going to change really what we're looking at, regardless of what you call it.
Yes, sir.
We still have a traffic issue out there.
That's correct. It would not change the results of the study or the recommendations, but I'll be glad to adjust the study as the county needs it adjusted.
Okay, and what was your motion again?
Just to table it, to remove the zoning verbiage.
Okay.
Till 1/16/24, the next board meeting?
To divorce it from.
So it doesn't, if you want to table it, or do you just want it removed?
Just table it till it can.
To the next board meeting?
Verbiage can be fixed.
All right, just bring it to the next board meeting. We have a motion on the floor, we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. So just, Tim, if you will, just bring it to the next board meeting, and we will acknowledge it at that point with that part removed. And if you would, get with Supervisor Brannon, just to make sure that, what he is looking for to be removed is removed. But we do not want to hinder the study at all, because the study is what it is. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, just bring it back to the next board meeting. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Guys, we're not going to take any questions from the audience at this point.
Thank you.
All right, next item I have is the pavement engineering report that was done for the section of Stribling Road between Deweese and Catlett.
Okay.
I believe this is attached to your agenda.
It is.
All right, on page 17 of 42 on the PDF, you'll see a section of the roadway that shows where the borings were done along this section. And then on page 11, you will see a figure that shows what each of those borings discovered. You'll show, it shows that there's asphalt, then the fill soils, then lean clays.
If you would, let's just go over it verbally.
Okay.
If you don't
All right.
mind.
Then real quick, after that, there was traffic that was generated. Now, we know exactly how many passenger cars there were. And so there was some estimation that was done on heavy vehicles that use this road currently. So currently, we showed this, and we probably showed it a little high. We showed 20 school buses per day, which is absolutely high.
Yes.
Yep. We showed 4 garbage trucks per day, which is high. We showed 8 passenger or package delivery trucks, which is high. And we showed 1 semi-truck, which is high. That semi-truck, we estimated that going to the Mermaid. We don't think there's one going there every day, but
Right.
we estimated that, okay? Then we estimated that new vehicles would be coming in. We estimated another 3,000 vehicles in the future on this road. We estimated another 1 garbage truck, another 2 delivery trucks, and another 2 semi-trucks. All of this we think is over what would really be there. But we estimated on the high side just to be sure that we were over what would really be on this road. And using those numbers, it noted that the geotech engineers determined that the existing road conditions were structurally adequate to support the existing traffic as well as the estimated additional traffic volumes. So based on the traffic that is there and the estimated additional traffic, that roadway will support the existing plus the combined new traffic of the roadway. So the 10,000-pound signs that are currently installed, as I mentioned several months back, that were installed because of that 500-acre development. We didn't want the dump trucks coming through that section.
Right.
That section of roadway, will support this traffic. We still don't want the dump trucks coming through.
Right.
So I recommend we keep the signs in place for what they're there for. But as far as delivery trucks to things going to Lake Caroline, I think this roadway will support it.
And when you say supported, how many pounds per vehicle or per commercial vehicle?
Well, I mean,
when you say supported, because
they're all different sizes. The 18-wheelers can be up to 80,000 pounds.
So are you saying this road has a base that will support 80,000 pounds?
It will. It's all based on equivalent axle loads.
Guys, I've already said once, this is for good information for us and for y'all. And if y'all want to listen, please do so. But if I hear one more person sound out like this, you're going to be removed. You're going to be removed from this room. You're going to ask to leave. Okay? Tim, move forward.
It's based on equivalent axle loads.
Okay.
And so, no, you don't want an 80,000-pound truck going one after another, after another, after another, after another.
Right.
But if you have 1 a day, 2 a day, that's fine. Passenger cars, you got 12,000 passenger cars going through there every day right now. The road's holding up fine. So it's all based on the equivalent axle load. 80,000-pound truck has a much more equivalent axle loads for one truck than a passenger car does. So
yeah, it does.
It's a ratio, if you will.
Right. Okay.
Tim, when you say you took into account traffic growth, did you take into account the neighborhoods on Deweese, the new neighborhoods, and the houses being built in Caroline and Ashbrook? And how much extra would a service station add? I mean, how many cars I guess my question is it gonna be all local traffic, or would cars from other neighborhoods be going into Lake Caroline to gas up?
Well, I mean, they could, but typically people don't get in their car and go, I'm headed to the gas station to get something. It's typically a passerby trip. You go to the gas station on your way to somewhere else. You know, but it does generate some traffic, but it's not as much as you would think. And yes, there's 12,000 cars on Stribling right now. We estimated another 3,000, which is 25% growth on that. So, you know, that's a pretty good sized jump when you consider Madison County is growing at a 2% rate per year.
And 10,000 cars a day is capacity for a 2-lane road?
Is it? Whoa, where'd he go? Oh, no, he didn't. I can't remember what it is a day. It's like 900 vehicles an hour.
8 to 9.
Was it per?
Depending on your classification of your roadway. It's going to be over here. So I only did the peak hour. So this is just the peak hour one. But you're looking at about 10,000 to 12,000 a day as a in one direction as a capacity.
So where are we at? 12,000? Then we're going to add 25%?
Yeah, right.
And we just studied Stribling. We didn't study Catlett.
Did we study?
There
We had
was
the
an intersection of Catlett and Stribling intersection, and you had 940 turning right, or 900 turning right, and 140 turning left going north, which I think those people are just trying to avoid the congestion and
So
would be turning
Catlett's,
right.
so most likely Catlett's at capacity also.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're currently doing working on a project on Catlett right now.
An intersection, but
Intersection and
capacity,
widening.
capacity usually requires widening of
It
the
does.
entire road, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay. Thank you.
And some of that is because of the traffic control, and so signalization sometimes will reduce some of that congestion when you assign the right-of-way to the minor street.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Tim on this item? Tim, we need to acknowledge that as well.
We can, or we can wait on it and acknowledge it at the same time we acknowledge the other one, if you'd like.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge it.
Okay.
Because it's, it needs to be in the minutes anyway. Have a motion to acknowledge the letter. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, let's go to item 35.
All right. We have updated our heavy haul permit, and we just asked that the board acknowledge the new heavy haul permit. This has required the contractors to put up signs. It requires them to keep the roads clean. Just adds a little bit of language that we currently require them to do, but puts it on paper.
Okay. Make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
I second the motion with a question.
Discussion? Do I now?
Let Carl back in? Are we done with?
Well, he can come back in anytime he gets ready to.
He might, if he's not paying attention, he might.
I don't know.
Might not know.
Yeah.
Tim, this heavy hauling permit, you will have it in your office down there?
It will be in Cornelius's office.
And if we were requiring a bond for any type truck, the amount will be entered in here?
It is. It's on the second page, about third statement down. There's a place in there to enter the amount of the bond that would be required if one is required.
Okay. Just making sure that.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got a motion on the floor. Have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Next item I have is acknowledge of the escrow agreement with Black River Timber. They're putting an escrow amount of $15,000 for Deer Ridge Drive in case they do any damage to that road as they do logging operations.
Motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Baxter, second Supervisor Banks, or Supervisor Banks, discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Tim,
Yes, sir.
before you go, if you will you kind of follow up on the, what is it, a study, whatever we're doing out on Yandere Road, on those, turn lane that we're looking to get?
Yes, sir. I will.
And, have us maybe a report, next meeting.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna come by your office. Jonathan and I will come by and see you this week.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. Mr. Jones, guys, y'all can stay for the meeting now, if you like. Yeah. All right, that's probably right.
Good morning, board.
Good morning.
I'm coming to ask you all, would you all approve line item 37? It's an upgrade to our current system that we have, and we just need your approval for that.
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Weeks?
Mr. President and
Yes, sir.
Supervisors, good morning.
Good morning.
First thing, I want you to approve or acknowledge the planning and zoning draft minutes from 12/14/23.
Do I have a motion to acknowledge the planning and zoning draft meetings of 12/14/2023?
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Item 38.
Next item, Rashad Smith, site plan for an event venue. It's on southwest corner of Highway 16 and Sharon Road. This was approved by planning and zoning 12/14/2023.
All right, do I have a motion?
I have a motion.
Motion, Supervisor Griffin, do I have a second? Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion?
Yeah, question. I think, Dr. Shaw is in here. Yes, sir. Do you have a time limit on what you might consider a bill out for this?
Well, construction will probably take approximately about a year.
About a year.
For total. That's including landscaping, grounds, building, excavation, probably take about 8 to 10 months.
Okay, so you looking 2 years, maybe going up and operate?
That's the plan. That's the plan.
All right, sound great, appreciate you.
Thanks, sir.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Board Attorney, Mike?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've got one item I'd like to update the board on the Broadband Capital Projects Fund award. So it's been announced that the Beam office last week made an announcement. They allocated $112 million for the Beam projects. They had $160 million to award. They awarded $112,000. So for Madison County, we received a little over $4 million. 4015060. $4,015,000. Now, I'll remind you that our project was $17 million. Comcast put in $7 million. The board through ARPA funds put in $5 million, and we asked the BEAM program to give $4.9 million.
Right.
So we are like $800,000 short. This was a preliminary grant, so they will augment after more consideration. Hopefully they'll augment the grant. So we still have work to do. Here's the problem. The BEAM office said that they would give money to make passings, passing our connections. So they said that in Northeast Madison County, there will be 3,300 passings. In our proposal, we had almost 4,000 passings. So there's a discrepancy there. And that's why we fell short about $800,000. So we have work to do to go to the BEAM office through our consultants and through our lobbyists to let the BEAM office understand that all of these connections, all of these homes and businesses are eligible. So, so we're there. We got $4 million, a little bit over $4 million. We asked for $4.9 million, so we're short. So I would like the board to direct us what to do in the meantime. We have lobbyists, we have Comcast, you have board attorney. So, what would you like to do? They have money left.
Yeah.
Definitely, that would be, add the, I think the engineers to that list too, Mike. And I think there needs to be a conversation with, Comcast on what we got right now. Can we start? I know they've been doing work already.
Yes.
Can we get
Right.
deeper into the work as we lobby for this, the rest of this money?
All right.
Yeah. I think maybe answering Mike's question, what do we do next, is to have him and the Wagner engineer
Yeah.
along with our state lobbyist and you and administrator and any supervisors that would like to be involved, but I know Supervisor
Sure.
Griffith would be, to work on this and to get the information, you know, to the right people and see if we can get the other 800,000 to go along with what has been awarded.
Okay.
So I think that's, you know, to me, that would be the next step.
Yeah.
So you need a motion on that.
I make a motion if you need it.
Okay, motion Supervisor Griffith, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Mike, we have an executive session.
Not for me. Drake?
Okay.
Not for me.
Okay. Mr. Decent, do we have an executive session for you? We do.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, moving on down the road there. Greg?
Yep, all right. I do have one thing for you, Board. And this is just a risk mitigation issue. Section 27, 29, 31 of the Mississippi Code, and I did confirm all of this with Board Counsel prior to having this conversation with you all. Every tax collector at the expiration of his term of office shall file with the clerk of the Board of Supervisors of the county on the first Monday of January a list of all of the uncollected taxes for the current fiscal year, which shall show a bunch of detail. And so what this says is you guys are supposed to have a list in front of you supplied by the Madison County tax collector on the first Monday of January. Obviously, this is not the first Monday. This is a Tuesday. Holidays aren't really factored in. Anyway, Mr. Clerk, I do not believe you have received said report. And as such, I do think this board needs to memorialize in its minutes that it has not received said report to avoid any risk to this board.
Let me double check one more time, make sure. No, sir.
I just don't want there to be any blowback on this board because they didn't receive what they were
Do we
supposed to
need
receive.
a motion of some sort?
Yeah.
To add that segment to the minutes, yes, sir, I would recommend it.
Okay, do I have a motion?
What he going?
Just to acknowledge the lack of a report
Exactly.
in accordance with 27, 29, 31.
Okay, is that your motion, Supervisor Griffith?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Ronnie, you have the motion?
Yes, sir.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, thank you.
Also, hopefully, next board meeting, we'll have an update on the CPA, as far as giving an update on the tax collector's office. Hopefully, that has
Yes.
been finished at that point, and we can close those books. and move forward. So,
She has issued her final report. She'll be presenting it to this board at the next meeting, yes,
So
sir.
if you will, ask the new tax collector, CJ and Stephanie, to come and just give a little update, especially Stephanie.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Okay, next we have Nassan, Comptroller.
Good morning, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
The first item I have is number 40, which is the budget amendments for your approval.
I'll make a motion for approval, second from Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
The next three items, 41, 42, and 43 is the general claim docket and 2 payroll dockets.
Do I have a motion?
Move. Second.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? I would ask Supervisor Banks to take item 44.
Okay, item 44.
Which is the fleet corps claim docket for your approval.
Motion.
There a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Run it a lot.
Mr. Lott?
Nothing, Mr. President.
Sheriff?
The only thing I have, Mr. President, is the approval of our Sheriff's Department assigned fire investigator, and that's Barry Chandler, if y'all would approve him.
I do I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Motion Supervisor Baxter. Do I have a second? Second Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Was that aye to approve or aye to? Okay. All right. Just a little late. I didn't know. Just wanted to make sure. All right. Old business. New business.
Yeah. Since Carl not recognized, I want to recognize the new elected District 4 election commissioner. If you will, come up front and tell everybody who you are.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year. I'm Anthony Denton, District 4 Election Commissioner, 146 Dogwood Drive, Canton, Mississippi. It's good to be here. It's good to serve the county. I'll be continuing to make sure that we have free and fair elections in Madison County. We have elections with integrity, have elections that everyone can depend on. So that's who I am. I'm a man of integrity. Just good to be here. Thank you, Supervisor Banks, Griffin, Steen, Brandon, and Baxter. I'm here to help. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Any other new business? If not, I'll ask for a motion to go into closed termination.
I'll move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks. I'll second it. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.